Hey, the little top tens here. When you think about Charles Dickens, what would you think about? Well, I'll say number one. The only number one thing that pops up to mind is A Christmas Carol. Or other things created by Charles Dickens. Oh no, Charles Dickens created a lot of books that I don't mostly pay attention to. So I guess that's just my phone giving me emails. Like always. So here are top 10 strange stories about Charles Dickens that will change your way when you think about him. Alright guys, we go on to number 10, when he believed he could heal people through hypnosis. Yeah, that's kind of a weird thing actually. So, in 1837, Charles went to see Dr. John Elliotson perform experiments upon the stage. Dr. Elliotson was a mesmerist, a man who believed that all human beings are filled with a magnetic fluid that can be controlled through hypnosis. Dickens watched Dr. Elliotson's shows again and again and was trying to hypnosis himself before long. He mesmerized his friends and family every chance he got. In particular, his wife, Catherine, was regularly subjected to his experiments by the time he was done. Dickens claimed he could magnetize a frying pan. Believe me, that's so crazy. If it doesn't have magnetic materials, you can't do it. Just simple as that. Alright, but yeah, 10 years after his experiments began in 1847, Dickens' friend and illustrator John Leech suffered a concussion. He visited Leech in the hospital and tried to mesmerize him. When Leech got better, Dickens declared that it had everything to do with his healing powers, and nothing to do with the doctors. I mean, the doctors are supposed to be killing you up with mesmerizing the best thing to do. I mean, I don't believe that's going to help. Well, nobody does that one day. Not ever. Alright, we go on to number 9 with he performed magic as the unparalleled necromancer. So, in 1849, an ad was spread around the city. It advertised a magic show performed by the unparalleled necromancer Rama Rose, educated Kabbalistically in the orange groves of Salamanca and the ocean caves of Allen Bay. Now, to the surprise of the people who came out, the unparalleled necromancer was none other than Charles Dickens himself. What they just said is yo journalism, because he was not from Allen Bay, nor he was from Salamanca, literally. So, there he performed to his crowd Britain's best-selling author, performed feats of magic and wonder. He set a deck of cards on fire and reproduced from the ashes the card an audience member had drawn. He cut open a loaf of bread and revealed an audience member's watch in there. And into an ordinary gentleman's hat, he poured a grocery list of raw ingredients and poured out a finished plum pudding. I guess he was a magician. Oh no. If they were just playing some tricks on him. Apparently, he was quite good at magic. Well, Jane Carlyle wrote that Dickens was the best conjurer she ever saw, and that magic would enable him to make a handsome substances, lest the bookseller trade go as it please. Alright guys, we go on to number 8, with he visited the last man to be executed for sodomy. Now, the last man in England ever executed for sodomy were James Pratt and John Smith. While they were in prison awaiting the gallows, they met the famous author Charles Dickens. Dickens had popped by looking for inspiration. He had a column called Sketches by Boz, in which described everyday scenes in life, and he thought the sadness of condemned men would make a great topic. Dickens wasn't particularly forgiving of the gay couple, who was about to be executed for making love. Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. I know, we have the freedom to do that here in the USA, but why not in England? I don't know, they just got different rules. I don't know, I don't live in England, so. Calling them Frenchmen, he wrote that Pratt and Smith had nothing to expect from the mercy of the crown. Their doom was sealed. No plea could be urged in extenuation of their crime. So, and they well knew that for them, there was no hope in this world. Alright, number 7 here is, he publicly argued that spontaneous combustion was real. Alright, in 1852, Charles Dickens released a section of his novel Bleak House, in which a man died by spontaneous combustion. The scene sparked a nationwide debate over whether a person really could spontaneously combust. Some. I don't believe that. George Lewis, a strong advocate for science, publicly called Dickens out, saying that he was giving credence to a scientifically impossibility and currency to a vulgar error. Dickens responded through the next part of the novel. He worked in a paragraph that mocked people who don't think spontaneous combustion is possible. He did let it drop there, however. Dickens and Lewis wrote each other private letters continuing to argue whether it is possible or not. The two went on writing furious letters to each other for 10 months, but they finally got bored and agreed to disagree. Yeah, that's what I'll definitely say too. Definitely. Alright, we go on to number 6 with he pretended he was going to murder a woman as a joke. Cruel joke there. Dickens was a very, very strange man. His favorite way to amuse himself was to run over to a group of complete strangers and tell them long, confusing jokes that they wouldn't understand. Or he'll pretend to be in love, putting on a whole Pepe Le Pew routine in front of an increasingly uncomfortable woman. Sometimes he took it way too far. Once right in front of his wife, he dragged a woman he didn't know, pretended to be overpowered by love, who dragged her down to the beach and into the water, and declared that they would stay there until the water swept them away to drown together. I didn't know that Charles Dickens wanted to commit suicide anyway. That's just wrong. Alright, the woman had no idea he was kidding. She freaked out, convinced she was about to die. So, yeah. Alright, Dickens' wife, understandably, was unimpressed. She yelled at him to let the woman go. Dickens, though, was never one to give up on a good joke, so he clung onto the woman and watched the waves come crashing in. The woman survived, but her dress was ruined, and she had the odd experience of being psychologically scared by a legendary author. Alright, number 5 is that he called for the genocide of all Indians. In 1857, India rose up against their British occupiers, sending their first war for independence. Newspapers painted the Indians as ungrateful savages, focusing on the story about a single English child who died in the conflict. Dickens was strongly affected. He wrote a letter to a friend, Angelia Burden-Coates, with whom he had opened a charitable home for young women. The letter, though, was anything but charitable. I wish that I were commander-in-chief in India, Dickens wrote. I should do my utmost to exterminate the race. Cruel man. Cruel man. Alright, number 4, we got, he was accused of having an affair with his sister-in-law. Dickens' relationship with his wife's family made somewhat people uncomfortable. He was unusually devoted to them. When his sister-in-law Mary died at the age of 17, he wrote to a friend that he wished he could be buried with her. However, it was her other sister, Georgina, who really caused a scandal. Georgina had made Dickens the center of her life. She lived in his house as his housekeeper and advisor. She had turned down 2 marriage proposals from other men, allegedly to spend more time with her sister's husband. When rumors came out that there was a rift between Dickens and his wife, the public was sure Georgina was behind it. Dickens, they believed, had been sleeping with his sister-in-law, a relationship that Victorians saw as a type or incest. The stories ballooned until the people had convinced themselves that Georgina was secretly the mother of 3 of Dickens' children. She wasn't. Dickens proved his innocence and went way overboard doing so. He made Georgina get her virginity tested and share the results. Pretty crazy, right? Very crazy. Number 3, we got he did an affair with an 18-year-old lady. Pretty crazy. The rumors were right about one thing. Dickens' marriage really was falling apart. It all started in 1857, when he put on a production of a play there. He met a young actress named Ellen Ternan, who was twice years younger than him. Now, Dickens became very obsessed with her. He wrote little stories fantasizing that he was a knight, seeing returning from ogres, that he had tied her up by her hair. He was in love, and he was willing to sacrifice his whole family for it. The two began an affair, however. This was the Victorian era, and an affair would have made a huge scandal, not like present-day England. Dickens made Ternan spend most of her time in hiding, living in homes where people would spy him. He would sneak out to her and spend nights with her, but he hid her from the public eye. The affair lasted for 13 years, ending with his death. 2. He took his children away from their mother. After the birth of their second child, Catherine fell into a slump that people today think might have a postpartum depression. Now, Charles, not being a very good husband, wasn't particularly sympathetic. He wrote to friends criticizing his wife, once saying that she is as near being a donkey as a woman can be. When he started his affair with Ellen Ternan, enough leaked out that it became a public scandal. Dickens was furious, and he wrote to friends justifying himself, saying Catherine was an uncontented mother and mentally disordered. For a while, he had their bedroom divided in 2, so he didn't have to see her. Soon, he kicked her out of the house altogether, and he kept the kids. 8 of their 9 children stayed with Dickens as existence. Only his eldest, Charlie, was old enough to choose for himself, and he chose to live with his mother. 1. He saved lives in a train accident and had to hide it. In 1865, Dickens had a rare moment of heroism. He was riding the first-class carriage of a train when it plunged off a bridge. 7 of the 8 carriages plummeted down below, with only Dickens staying on the track. Dickens climbed out the carriage and went looking for the conductor. He took the key from him and opened the carriage door, freeing the people inside. He then rushed over the edge and freed a person trapped in a wrecked car. He saved lives. He tended to the wounded with water and brandy and helped others find their loved ones. And you could never tell a soul. Dickens was with Ellen Ternan, and he couldn't risk having the public learn of his affair. He skipped the police on the crash and hid the story of his heroism from the public. Very sneaky man. Alright guys, if you have any strange facts about Dickens that you want to tell out, just let me know in the comments down below. Alright? Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to ring that notification bell. After you subscribe, let's like this video, and I guess that's all. Alright? Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time.